The team you called a little wagon yesterday, the Arizona Cardinals, got a 41-10 victory over the Rams. 2 first-quarter touchdowns for Marvin Harrison Jr.
They are a little wagon. They're a little wagonito. Wagoncito. Nolan's like, yeah, one of those.
Yep.
Because Kyler Murray, and I'm kicking myself because I should have been more assertive, and I will this week. I went on Inside the NFL last week, and they were like, what do y'all want to talk about? And I was like, Kyler Murray played great. Nobody saw that game, but man, Kyler Murray and Josh Allen. And they're like, yeah, okay, cool. And then the rundown doesn't have Kyler Murray in it. And I'm like, I hope I get a chance to talk about this guy. I hope he doesn't have a bad week too. I felt it coming in that they were going to hand these guys their ass a little bit, and they did. And when you watch Arizona's offense, I said this last week, some of y'all might have side-eyed me a little bit, but if you were able to wave a magic wand and give this team a top 10 defense, they're as scary as anybody in the league. And we made all this big deal about Marvin Harrison Jr. ran 16 miles an hour, barely speeding in the school zone. Well, they found a way. It was almost like Kyler was like, I'll show you. You want to see what he can do? I guess we'll show you week 2.
It's like he faked it a little bit because he's like, I'm not responsible for getting him the ball, midweek. Yeah. And then first quarter, it was like, no problem.
That was a classic, like, no, you were right. But I just didn't react well in the moment. But he took that to heart, and like Drew Petzing has been incredible. And when you have James Conner and a run game this multiple and like just persistent, and Kyler, we gave up on him. There was that 2-year stretch where it was like excellence and then injuries. Like he was breaking down at the end of the year, and then there was video games, and there's Cliff Kingsbury, who just gave him too much freedom. Petzing's a real OC, dude. Like he is doing some work out there. And I know there's probably 7 people in here that are like Cardinals fans, but all 7 of you should be very proud of what John Gannon, a guy that people laughed off the stage at his introductory presser because he said pew pew to a receiver on the team. Like, remember when Sirianni was a joke because he was nervous, Dan Campbell was a Neanderthal, and oh my God, Urban Meyer is going to take over Jacksonville. They're going to win a Super Bowl. Have you seen how good this guy is in college? Well, let's just realize at some point that it's not all about the first day on the job and what a guy does at the podium or how the socials are. John Gannon's first day at work. He's done a great job. These players are buying in. They've got a weapon of a tight end in Trey McBride. They now have a bona fide freak. Saw him jump 15 feet into the end zone, like extend 15 feet into the end zone. I saw him catch a back shoulder. It was like crazy. You're going to be able to throw the ball wherever you want to this guy. And Kyler Murray's got a hell of an arm. And I really do think that he's one of the best passers in the NFL. Not to mention he can scoot. He getting that little
bro, when his
Kawasaki Ninja.
And one thing I do respect about Kyler, not knowing his hand size, he has to have pretty decent ball like grip strength, because when he scrambles, he doesn't have any ball security.
Yeah,
like at all.
No, he's. I hope he has. Hands that can grip the ball. I didn't get the hand measurement on that cat, but I will tell you,
he's got strong hands from playing so much video games, man.
Yeah, he does.
That is true.
He really does. But the question coming out of this game is, are they for real or are they not? Like, I don't know. Ask whoever's going to play them next week, because I think whoever's going to play them next week is going to say, yeah, they're for real, guys. We need to be very careful with this team. Like, I think they've transcended the look out. It's the Lions.
That's awesome.
And that's going to be a good game.
In Arizona.
Now, the Lions are going to run the ball if they have a brain in their heads.
Yep.
Up their ass if possible. But because this is a no-name defense, and I don't mean any disrespect, this is a compliment. Like, there's a lot of guys that people don't know out there that do dirty work for these guys. And they don't have Gardeck. Gardeck had a couple sacks yesterday. Nobody knows who Dennis Gardeck is. I know who Dennis Gardeck is. The guy's a really good number 2 kind of rusher, number 3 kind of rusher in the league. And
Denny G.
3 sacks. He might not be your number 1, but he's a number 1 for them, and they're trying to make it work. And their safeties can play, and
Baker, great game.
They're going to be better out at corner than they were last year. I'm not saying they're going to make a deep playoff run, but this is more real than not real. You better beware if you're playing this offense. Now, somebody's going to pull their card on defense at some point this year, and they're going to say, yo, see, I'm not saying the defense is great. What I am saying is this offense is going to keep people up at night.
Yeah.
Here's a fun stat. Marvin Harrison Jr., first receiver to have 4 catches and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter since his pops did it in 96.
Wow.
What's also crazy is, can you name a lot of Hall of Famers whose kids had more talent than their dads? I mean, I'm sitting here at the desk and I'm not raising my hand.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, there's plenty of Hall of Famers that had kids that played football.
Yeah.
Not a lot get to the pro level. Not a lot get drafted high. But I'm looking at Marvin Harrison Jr. and I'm like,
The ceiling's high. The ceiling's real high.
in today's NFL.
Yeah.
And Marvin Harrison was a freak in his own right. But this is like a guy who's packaged totally different.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
crazy.
And his stride and the way he runs, like, we know he's fast, and it's funny, like, those touchdowns he scored, the guys who are chasing after him, it looks like they're running slow, but it's just, it goes to show, like, guys have different type of speeds, and, like, he's like a long strider, and he's covering a lot of ground, and that's going to be interesting to see. Just once him and Kyler really get it, really get it, that's going to be fun, like bombs over Baghdad, to be able to just throw it up and have someone
They're so
get under
fun.
it.
I just hope Madden updates the rosters and makes them kind of good.
Madden.
Guys, I was up last night. The one break I take from watching games before I went to bed is I botched a game against the Chargers. I was stoned playing with the damn Saints. I'm trying to take what Petzing did onto the field, and I just can't do it at midnight. Anyways, what's the next game? Because, hey, the Rams, it's hell right now.
Yeah.
We're in hell right now, man. You know, like, we need Al Pacino for this team because they are in hell. And Cooper Kupp comes out with an injury. Puka's hurt. They come in with all these damn injuries. This is one of those teams that you're like, everything has to break right for them as it did last year, and they're going to be pretty damn good. The injuries, it is feeling a lot more like a couple years ago, right? Where it's just like it's too much to overcome in a division that's going to be tough. Because you just looked at, like, that's supposed to be the bottom feeder.
Right. Chris, if you're the Rams and you lose to the Cardinals 41-10, like, you had your all-world, all-universe defensive player for the last decade retire. How do you make up that production? It's like you enter the season, you try to moneyball it, but, like, if I'm a Rams defensive player right now, like, I am in – like, you're at that point in the season where you're like, what do we do?
Aaron Donald is sitting there and he's like, they might pay me $200 million to come back. Like,
serious.
You know what I mean? And I wouldn't come back because I don't know where this team's going. Like, they got a young front. You know, like, they're a young, talented front. I like the guys on the front, but they're young. So, like, in the run game,
Jared actually had some decent production.
I like Jared.
He had 3 TFLs. I like him a lot. And then his college, buddy, his college teammate, Braden Fisk, a white D lineman who I'm high on. Like, I think he's got a little bit of ways to go. But you're hoping that you can moneyball some of Aaron Donald's production with these dudes, and it has not been there yet.
You can't moneyball Aaron Donald. Now, what you can do is be sound in your run fits and try to get to 3rd and long and manufacture pressure or whatnot. But Shula, like, it's how many times can you hit on a D coordinator? Right?
Yeah.
Like, how many times can you stick the land? And whether it was Raheem or Staley or any of these guys, they've, Wade Phillips, they've had a ton of different ages, backgrounds, like the whole thing. But, like, we can make it work because we got this mutant. And it's starting to look like it was more the mutant than the coordinators.
Yeah.
But also, I want to give those guys that came before Shula credit because they were good coaches. We don't know about this guy yet.
Yeah.
I just don't know. And so his hardest work's ahead of him.